Rockford's home for classic rocks, 96.7 The Eagle. Good morning, it's Double T. Very special guest joining me, guitar player, singer, songwriter, rock and roll Hall of Famer, former member of the Eagles, Don Felder. Don, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys up there in Rockford?
You know what? We finally had some nice spring weather. It was a long, hard winter.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching all that. We were in and out of parts of Illinois and Ohio and was kind of dodging the bullets in Iowa and all of that Midwest stuff up there. And fortunately, we were able to get in and out of there without getting socked in or delayed flights. But it's beautiful up there this time of year. Spring and summer are my favorite times up in that part of the world.
Exciting times for you. You got a new album out, American Rock and Roll.
Yeah, that's right. You know, my last record I put out back in 2012, I tour so much, it's hard for me to get in the studio for long periods of time and write and record. So if I get back in my studio somewhere between 3, 5, 7 days a month, everybody thinks I'm out laying by the pool in California sunshine, but I'm not. I come back, empty my dirty suitcase, and go straight in the studio and start recording. So it just takes time for me to write, record, and produce what I think are really good quality songs. So lyrically, recording-wise, guitar parts, vocal performances, and I just won't put out anything that I don't think is spectacularly great. If I'm not excited about it and I'm not loving it, I can't expect anybody else to be. So it takes time. I have an incredible list of guest artists on this. What I wanted to do is last record, I played everything on the record, all the guitar parts, except for one track, The Road to Forever. Steve Lukather came and played on the track with me. But everything else I played, electric guitar, slide guitar, acoustic guitar, nylon string guitar, zither, mandolin, on and on and on and on. So, but this time I wanted to have a lot of guests come in because it's so much more exciting to play off of other people, to do vocal arrangements off of other people. So I wound up inviting a lot of my friends to be part of this record, and fortunately I had no one come up with excuses why they couldn't do it. Sammy Hagar sings a duet on this song called Rock You. Bob Weir's on that track. Joe Satriani plays an incredible guitar solo with me, trading off, playing harmonies together. Slash plays on the title track, American Rock and Roll. Peter Frampton is on the track, The Way Things Have to Be. And Peter and I went out and did a bunch of shows together. I think that's probably 4 or 5 years ago. A lovely guy, great guitar player. Alex Lifeson from Rush, probably the biggest Canadian band in history, wound up playing guitar on this song called Charmed, and it was just the appropriate track for him. Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi and Orianthi, who played with Michael Jackson on the This Is It tour, or was going to be on that tour. If you watch that film, you'll see Orianthi playing. She played with Alice Cooper, probably one of the best, if not the best, rock guitar player female that's on the market right now. She is just unbelievable. So Richie and Orianthi played on it. Mick Fleetwood's on it with me. Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers. Todd Zuckerman from Styx. Steve Gadd, who plays with just about everybody. James Taylor, Paul Simon, tons of people. Jim Keltner, who was with Clapton, Steve Miller, George Harrison. The amazing David Paich from Toto and I wrote this song together called Hearts on Fire. He just has the greasiest, funkiest way of playing piano and writing. I love the way he plays, and I wanted some of that on this record. And Steve Porcaro from Toto, who does a lot of the synth work and background pad work, played on it with me. Nathan East, who played with Clapton and just about everybody in the business, bass. Chris Chaney played bass from Jane's Addiction. Abe Laboriel, who everybody knows that name. It was engineered by Ed Cherney and a guy named Julian Chan. And more importantly, it was mixed by Bob Clearmouth, who's probably the leading, highest quality, hi-fi mixing engineer in history, in my opinion.
You read off that list of artists that helped you. That is so impressive. Now, what do you got to do for them since you got them on your album?
Anything they want. A lot of us had done charity events together to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital and a lot of other great events to just help raise money for people, and became friends doing charity work. So it was just fantastic to have so many people that not only had I played with and worked with and known on and off through the decades, be willing to step up and come in and play on this record.
That's so awesome.
Bernie Grunman, who did the mastering on this, actually did the mastering for the original Hotel California record in '76, and all the re-release, remastered versions of it for CD and for vinyl and everything else that goes on. Bernie is the guy. Now, the other Bernie that's a key player, I don't know if you noticed, but the artwork that's on the cover and back of this CD and vinyl is the artwork of Bernie Taupin, who's Elton John's co-writer in every one of Elton's songs. He writes the lyrics. So everybody on this record has an incredible pedigree, a recognizable name, and I was absolutely flattered that they all stepped up and jumped on board. I had a ball doing it, and I think it turned out really great.
I'm talking to Don Felder. His new album, American Rock and Roll, is out now. Did you write with them, or did you pick out parts to give them to do on your album?
Well, the lyrics and melody I wrote. Like Sammy said when he was singing, he said, "This is great. I can just sing this." Normally, every song I work on, I have to write. I have to figure out the lyrics. I have to figure out the vocals. Blah, blah, blah. This is great. This is so easy. I went, well, I didn't want you to have to work, So we had a fun time. But sitting down with kind of a blank slate with like Joe Satriani or Richie Sambora, Orianthi, to just let these guys go and then find ways that we can trade off, do harmony parts together. I play a line, they play a line, and be able to use that additional fresh dynamic from their playing and their inspiration to do these records was just so much fun. Really a high energy time to do all that. I really had a great time doing it.
And you talk about high energy, that song you did with Sammy Hagar, Rock You, it's a very high energy rock track.
It is. I wanted to write, it reminded me of the first big gig we played with the Eagles. Ironically enough, it was in London at Wembley Stadium on an Elton John show when he was dressing in those wild, flamboyant costumes, just exploding on the rock scene. And so I remember standing on stage and looking out at the masses and wanted to write a song that for that particular environment, situation, I could have something that was a big power rock song. So I'd written this track, written the lyrics, and I said, I think this would be a great track to do a rock duo on, but not with a female. So I kept thinking, who has that great raspy rock and roll, just incredibly intense? But wait a minute, that's Sammy Hagar. So I called him up and went up to his studio in Sausalito, and literally an hour later we had done the vocals on it, and it was great. Joe Satriani was there, came in and played guitar on it. Bob Weir walked in the studio, and we got him to sing on the chorus, I think 5 or 6 Bob Weirs. So it was just a wonderful coincidence that everything came together so well.
The title track, American Rock and Roll, it's a nice tribute to some of the great American rock and roll bands.
It is. I was at Woodstock in 1969 and saw Jimi Hendrix live and saw Carlos Santana and saw Crosby, Stills Nash, and saw the Grateful Dead. I was one of the 400,000 soaked by the rain and covered with mud people in the audience for 3 days. But it was probably the biggest rock explosion in the history of rock music, that event. So all of these people on this record were very highly influenced by those artists that played back in Woodstock. Well, Bob Weir was there. I saw him play with the Grateful Dead. So
I'm talking to Don Felder. His new album, American Rock and Roll, is out now. The double neck guitar, what got you interested in playing that beast?
I had to. I had played a couple of different sounds on the original record, like the opening acoustic 12-string, and then a bunch of different harmony parts, descending harmony parts, and the solo, and it was really a way of trying to find how I could do those sounds that I had to do on one guitar. And so the idea came up, of doing it on a double neck. And we rewired it. A roadie ran down the street and grabbed the double neck. He came back with a white one. I said, don't they have a black one or a red one or something cool? The white's kind of girly, you know. But it really stands out, you know, and it's actually been with me for 40-something years. Every time I do a show, I have to play Hotel California on that double night.
The heavy metal soundtrack, the song Heavy Metal that you did for it, has always been one of my favorite songs that you've done. How'd you get involved with that?
I had actually written that track or something very much like it for the Long Run album. And it was a follow-up, or going to be a follow-up, to Hotel, where Joe and I could play some heavier electric guitars and do some harmony and straight-off solos, and we just never got around to finishing it. So later in the early 80s, I got a call from a movie producer who wanted me to write a song for this animated movie. And so I went over and looked at it and went, you know, I've got this song that might just work. If I re-record it with my own band, write lyrics about heavy metal, it might work. So I did that. I went in the studio, recorded it, re-sang it, with the right lyrics for the record, and it actually went on to be probably one of the biggest single early tracks and songs that was on the radio for me. It was very well received. You know, Sammy Hagar actually wrote another song called Heavy Metal, and we were both vying for the title track of that album. And so when we're together and we do shows together, I usually go out and play my set, and then I play my version of Heavy Metal. And then he comes out later and plays his version of heavy metal. So it's all good. We love each other, played together, and known each other for a long time.
And I saw you on his show. It looked like you guys had a great time.
You know, Sammy is just a ball of fun. The whole time you're together with him, he's got this big smile. He's laughing. It's hard to have a bad time around Sammy Hagar, to tell you the truth.
I'm talking to Don Felder. His new album, American Rock and Roll, is out now. So I see you have some tour dates coming up, but what's your plans for the rest of the year?
My plan for the rest of the year is work, work, work. I'll be out touring probably until through next summer. I have to go to Europe, might go down into South America this winter or Australia. I still have to go to Japan, Canada. There's just a lot of territory to cover with this record. So I'll be working, and I love doing it. That's why I do this, because I love to play music.
Out on vinyl, too, right?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing quality vinyl. Like I said, Bernie Grundman is probably the leading hi-fi audiophile when it comes to mastering vinyl. He's just spectacular the way he does that. So it's a great, great vinyl to have.
If people are looking for you on the internet, where could they find you?
You can Google me, and it comes up like Don Felder Music on Instagram, on Facebook. You go to donfelder.com. My tour schedule's on there, and it's all very easy to find and very good to have.
Check out Don Felder's new album, American Rock and Roll. Don, thank you so much for taking the time today.
I'm fantastically happy about doing this, and I hope to see you when I come back through your neighborhood.
Sounds great. Rockford's home for classic rock. It's 96.7, The Eagle.